Hi guys, what's up? So it's 9:17 in the morning. I actually already like sort of kind of got out of bed because I was super pressed to pee, and then I brushed my teeth and whatnot. I usually wake up a bit later than this, but I'm up now. Why? Because I was just drowsy last night super early, so now I'm up early. You might be thinking 9 is late. Well, in my life it's early because like a matter. Anyway, something has been impressed on my heart, and I want to show you just an example. Those of you who care to notice an example of what God helps me with whenever I'm really going through it. I did let you, oh, by the way, there's been a PowerCuts since 2 a.m. in the morning. I would know because I was struggling to sleep, given that I drowsed off at around to midnight, going on midnight, like at 11, perhaps 45. And so by the time 2 a.m. came, I was like busy waking up because I'm not used to sleeping that early. And the power got turned off. It was 2 a.m. It's going on 10. It's like 9:17. It's like almost 9:30 in the morning, and the power's still off. And it's like 24 hours these days, eh? Yeah, playing games already. But by the grace of God, my content is all transferred to my computer, so I've got all the space under heaven that I need to work with on my phone. But what I don't have is battery power. So let's just really hope that this power comes back, eh? Yeah. Anyway, whatever. But it is promising to be one of those 24-hour randoms. What you're looking at here is a DIY thing that I have to do. I told you guys that I have no access to medical care, that I have to eat very healthily, exercise, and do whatever I need to do to in and of myself stay healthy, in and of myself be alright, in and of myself be kosher. Because of the fact that public healthcare, what? I get a medical aid. If a big fat scab here, live swing bam, what's the show? People would be like, oh, look, there's a scab. And absolutely nothing would be done about it. So how much more then will my animal, I don't eat my cat, I don't eat what would be my, like, makeshift child, what under heaven then would be the level of neglect of my animal? If at all, as a person, I'm that neglected. That is the reason why I have to study like a monster. I wrote in one of the like posts on Facebook, what I do is just study. Whenever I've got an issue, I study about it. Whatever I want to know, I study. So my cat has, I did give you a backstory on my cat and how she came into my life. It was a rescue animal. And I let you guys know during that time when I was doing my hair that Barbara initially promised, the person who is, here giving me all these problems, she promised to pretty much help me take care of the animal because I'm unemployed and all she does is buy food, but it doesn't go to the vet. Nothing. No vaccinations. If it gets a scratch, I have to pray to God that it's just going to be all right. It's going to heal on its own. I don't have shampoos to wash the cat. I've only tried washing it twice so far. Yes, in about 2 years that I've had it, I've only tried washing the cat twice, and on both occasions I used regular soap. I used shampoo, like hair shampoo for us human beings, and we all know that animals need neutral shampoos, like baby shampoo, if we're going to be using a human shampoo, or one made specifically for cats at a specific age. Like if it's a kitten, then you need this kind of, you know what I mean? If it's an adult, if it's mature age, blah, blah. I taught myself a lot about cats, and so I've been able to somewhat keep my cat healthy. And my cat, I did also let you guys know that I wanted it to be an indoor, but it can't be an indoor because then it would be the tantamount of animal abuse, right? To keep it in here. I mean, look how tiny this environment is. It's like a cage. So I let it roam freely outside, and it gets all dirty, and it also fights with other cats whenever they're in her space and whenever she's in their space, and so they scratch each other, and every so often she comes back with scratches. And like I said, there have been scratches that my cat has come back with that have just gone away on their own. Her immune system is relatively strong due to the fact that it's like the immune system of a kid. Okula in very dirty environments because I got used to for my immunizations, I got used to for doctor's visits. This child is just like they give them what they need to eat and hope that this child will just thrive, right? The body tends to develop a much stronger immune system in people who just kind of rough it out a whole bunch. Maybe that's why I don't fall sick, due to the fact that it just gets its own response and gets its own antibodies and fights its own diseases because there is no intervention with modern medicine. So those are some of the pros of I would like to say neglected people or abandoned people. God gives them quite a hard knock strength. In all regards, because it's written in his word that he's a father to the fatherless, and he takes care of the cause of the widow and of the orphan. So people that society has neglected, God gives them amazing things like great skin at 37 so that they don't look a day over 26, alongside like excellent immune systems so they don't have to go in queue at like a public hospital or a clinic, snake like queues for like hours in a day because also taking pneumonia or whatever. I have not been sick this entire season. Like at all. Every so often I've got like a little bit of a sniffle here and there, but really, like, I haven't been sick in 8 years. In 8 whole years. I haven't been sick in 8 years because that's just what God does for people who no one cares that they should be taken care of. And my animal has not been sick in the 2 years since I have had her until now. Well, I mean, that's a little bit of a blunder in my life. No one cares about me, so you must trust that no one's going to care about my animal either. My animal roams around the property. Sometimes she's in and out of the house, walks about, and then gets out. Barbara has a thing. She thinks my cat is cute, right? So she doesn't like restrict her movement. But these days, you must understand that my cat's movement is going to be restricted because she's going to look at my cat on some, ew, you're like a leper, you're disgusting, you're going to make me sick. My cat is currently, I can't really say that she's sick because I've studied a lot about cats. Like when I got my cat, I had to go into vet school, just like low-key, under wraps, kind of like diet vet school. And I found out that when a cat in particular is sick, you will know because it'll get withdrawn. You will barely see it. It might hide in the wardrobe or mibedo. They literally want to die alone in peace. They're not like babies who, when they're sick, they cry and they make it known that I'm going through it, or they just want to be really close to their mom or whatever. When a cat is sick, it just hides. It like disappears from the scene. Plus, it won't have that energy. It won't be bouncy. It won't be springy up and down like it's on a trampoline. So it's like a bit of an overstatement to say that my cat is sick because she's still bouncing around and she's still all over the show. She's still meowing since an papa. Mara, there is this skin infection which I have gone on to conclude must be contact dermatitis. And I don't know from what she got that contact dermatitis. Maybe it's from the last time I shampooed her. I doubt it because it's been about 3 months since I did that, and this situation is only rocking up now. Because I washed her with regular shampoo and it's like a harsh sulfate shampoo. My cat has had quite a strong immune system, and she has really reacted in an allergic capacity with anything I've tried on her, due to the fact that she is like an orphan. She is like a widow. She is the cat of an orphan or a widow. She is the cat of a neglected, abandoned person. And God knows how I feel, and I've been really stressed out with watching this condition. So my cat has also, God, by the amazing grace of his, might and splendor, has given me a healthy cat in that like she hasn't given me problems in 2 years, despite me not being able to take her to the doctor. Just the other day, I was even being like, I wish that I didn't get the cat because like whoever it is that used to own her would have probably taken care of her in this condition, but I can't. I felt so guilty. I felt so bad, and I also felt just really horrendous. And in and of myself, I was just like, oh, like really turned off by this like scab on my cat's body because it sleeps on my bed, not on my bed, but in her own little bed on my bed. It's a separate demarcated region, but she still kind of needs to great trek through my bed to go to where she goes to sleep. You guys have seen it in the background when I'm recording. You will see it. It's like I feel as though you're gonna get whatever's on you on me, like and I'm freaking out. And I thought that Barbara might just get an attack of conscience. I thought that maybe she might just be like, because it tends to roam around freely. She will see that there is a wound on the cat, and so therefore get over herself, give me money, enable me to go and take the cat to the vet, so the vet can do something about it. Has anything of that happened? No. If anything, my cat's wound has only gotten larger. My cat currently has, like I said, contact dermatitis. It's what I concluded must be the issue, based on the look of it, because I went on YouTube to look for the situation. What gave her that contact dermatitis or that infection, that issue? Likely, fighting with another cat or something. I'm gonna say something created a patch on the body, on the surface of my cat, and it's like on and it is so glaring, it's so obvious, it is so visible. It's like just this patch, and it started out the size of a 1 rand coin. It's not about the size of a 1 rand coin, right? And now it's about the size of a 5 rand coin, and it's getting bigger. I thought it was going to go away on its own, like all the other scratches that have ever gone away on their own. Last night, when I was busy watching television, and when I was watching YouTube, and she got out from her little establishment over here to go and get her food, and when she was returning, I noticed that, and then the infection has spread on her eye. So basically, the thing about cats when they've got contact dermatitis, they scratch that area, they scratch it, they groom it, they hyperly groom, they scratch and then they groom, they licking their wounds. That's what they do. And they scratch and then they groom and then they scratch and they groom, basically exacerbating a wound. You all know that you need to, if at all you've got a scab, a scratch, you've got something on your skin that is irritated, you just need to put something on it, antiseptic, antibacterial, whatever, and then just leave it. Like, no matter how itchy you might be, just it'll heal on its own. It'll go away, it'll then start to scab, it'll then faking wash off that scab, and then your skin will like recover. You'll get like a scar or whatever. In the case of the cat, it would be hair growing back. Literally, it's a bald spot. There is no hair there. It's all inflamed, it's red, and it just keeps looking uglier and uglier by the day. And I've been waiting, looking for my cat. Get expect that she's also going to start to get all sick, and so therefore start to hide. And so therefore I need to like pretty much put the cat's affairs in order for her to be, buried, like put down or whatever, because this thing has spread so much that my cat's now dying. Like I've literally been thinking, it's going to end up dying. When currently it's springy, it's healthy, and that she's walking over, she's bouncing, she's like a normal cat, climbing, surfaces and what have you. There is no behavioral indicator of like feverishness, like feeling sick on the inside. No, it's just like the way that you would be relatively okay, but you've got some hard knock situation on the head and you keep on scratching your scalp, otherwise my cat's like that. So the situation could be controlled. This does not have to result in the death of my animal. This does not have to result in the death of my cat, but it could, because if the situation gets out of hand, that wound, if at all it does not heal, it might receive other infections that are out of this world. I've been lamenting about it. I asked God to heal the cat supernaturally. And it's like I said, the infection is spreading. And the situation, she keeps on scratching it, and now her eye last night was red, just around this corner. One of her eyes, the one on the left. This one, because it's my right, her left, right. Yeah, it was all inflamed, and I was like, my goodness, the cat looks like it's got a red eye now. Like my mom sees these things. And she's just sitting there. But I was so angry that I said in my spirit, it's what you do, woman. It's what you do. It's what you do. Like, if there was a competition, like that's what I was thinking the other day. What if there was a competition? Like, this world has got the weirdest competitions under heaven. that people enter into. They get into competitions for what do you call this thing? For eating, like the person who can eat the biggest amount of the largest amount of food in 5 seconds. There are people who get into competitions for like even what do you call this? Eating the snails or like sloth, getting bugs. People have weird competitions in the world, or the person that has the largest panty, the person that has got the longest eyelashes, the person like the Guinness World Book of Records. There's no end as to what people can do. Who in the world can grow the longest fingernails that like coil around? Like a snail. Yes, people enter into such funny, weird things on the earth. And I was like, since this earth loves to do random competitions, Barbara would come champion and top, do you understand? When it comes to a competition of negligence. Like she is a king, as in a champion. Like crowns, like shiny trophy and all. Diamond encrusted. Like hella expensive trophy. When it comes to child negligence, basically. People have been coming to me or giving me grief, basically. Like for whatever reason. They want to handle me using a baby. Next. I don't have a job. Ability to take care even of myself. I gotta eat healthy. I gotta work out, and I gotta just get through a sniffle season. When COVID hit, I actually wished I would get it and die, because I knew that one, I would go to heaven, and secondly, that this woman would leave me to die. She would literally leave me. I would be whooping, cough, wheezing, struggling to breathe in bed with no medical intervention. Like if I were to die in here, commit suicide or whatever, or perhaps get a heart attack, fail to wake up in the morning, I kid you not, my body will probably be discovered after maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe 5, when the garden guys over here, the guys when they walk past and smell something rotting, my body would only get discovered after a couple of days, because that's how much they don't care about me. Nobody checks, nothing. There's a day when I disappeared this side because I was under the weather emotionally all day long. No one came to knock. I'm in a situation, where I could die any minute now. Like I'm the kind of person that people should be putting pretty much on suicide watch, because my life, everything has been shattered. No one checks. If anything, because of my cat, I believe that might be the only reason why my body gets discovered sooner rather than later. But if I died, I would probably become food for the cat. The cat would eat her food, finish it. She would drink the water, and it takes a very long amount of time for her. It would take a long time for her to finish drinking metsi. And once the cat food, once her food is finished, my cat, when she wants to get out, she doesn't meow. She only meows when she's outside trying to come in, because I have to hear her. But to get out, she merely just like hovers around my head and scratches about there. And then I wake up, I realize that she wants to get out, and then I open the window. So my cat would never meow. If at all her stomach is not empty, what she would do is just have the zoomies because of this tiny little space. So she would hop around, she would just be very frustrated with the fact that she can't get out. But she would not audibly voice it out that I'm stressed, I want to get out. She wouldn't meow. She would not meow. Meaning that my cat would probably sit here with my dead body, and once her food gets finished, she would probably start to eat my body. And this would only be discovered when the garden guys when those garden guys probably smell that and then report it. But this woman would not be the one to check or because I'm so isolated, and because I'm so neglected and have been for so many years. They just take for granted, because I'm so strong. They just take for granted that it'll pay another day. No one checks on me. Literally no one cares. And there's also nobody calling me. So there aren't going to be people calling her on some I would literally just be AWOL, and that's it. And that would not be cause for concern in her. It wouldn't be. Me coming into the house frequently every so often to use the bathroom or to make food or whatever. For her, it would be like she's in her moods. That's why I was like, she might not even notice, because she's not always here. So she doesn't know if maybe I was in the house an hour before she came back to do what it is that I need to do. So like I said, that trophy, if at all, there was a competition, a World Guinness Record Championship of the most negligent person of other human beings, of a situation, of a mother towards her own child. This woman would take the trophy. She is the queen of negligence. A single thing that I have struggled with, that she has noticed, that she has highlighted and then helped me with. I have had to conquer every struggle that I have, DIY myself. Everything. There was a time when my skin was really bad, and I was breaking out into some bad acne, and she could see it. Did she ever offer help? No, I had to go on the internet and find out how in the world to DIY at home, fixing my own stuff. Like that. There is this show on Netflix called Orphan Black. It's about these clones, and one of the clones is this one girl called Helena. And Helena is, she grew up very severely neglected. Somewhere along the way in her life, she then meets the other clones. And her sister says to her clone sister, right, the other girl that looks exactly like her, they had been caught and captured in some prison and left them there, and their cells were side by side, and they could speak through the wall. And this sister, who grew up with friends and family and people caring for her, says to Helena, Helena, she is like, basically she was arrested first, and then this sister was arrested next because they were after the clones. They wanted to kill them off, type thing. And the sister is like, she had hurt Helena before. She had like done something to abandon her or treat her like she's trash or whatever. And so Helena was upset at her sister. And when then she came in, the sister basically scratched, was like, Helena, are you in there, Helena? And then Helena was like, yeah, I'm in here. You know, she has a Slavic accent. Like, I don't know, she could be from Russia or Ukraine or whatever. She's like, yeah, I'm in here, type thing. And then the sister's like, what are you doing? And she's like, nothing, you know, type thing. Like, she's all upset, type establishment thing. And they basically, she can hear from her cell that Helena is doing something. She's scratching around. And she knows that Helena is just like a master of escape. She's always lived a very hard life, type thing. And so she's like, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing and help me out, like, so we can both together get out of here. And Helena was like, nothing. She was all upset at the sister in the opposite cell because she'd been hurt by her very deeply just in the days prior. Left her for dead, basically, in that environment. Also did not go looking for her. And this sister was then like, basically because, yeah, now the one who comes from family, she was, because of that, she was like, somebody's gonna come here and pick me up and fetch me, and then we're gonna leave if you don't get me, if you don't bring me in on your plan, and then we're just gonna leave you here rotting. That's basically her telling Helena, you're gonna rot here if you don't help me too, you know, because somebody who loves me, because you don't have anyone who loves you, somebody who loves me is gonna come and rescue me. And Helena responded to her sister by saying this: it has stayed on my mind perpetually. I keep getting dreams where I'm like Helena, where I've got a whole bunch of clothes that think they're better than me, like women that are suffering the same struggles that I am suffering because of these ridiculous men in this land. Like, it's been black men are the bane of our existence at the present moment. They keep wreaking havoc in our lives on a spiritual level in the worst way. God has been showing me some stuff, and that's why I'm super avoidant of them. So basically, we're all victims of these guys, but many of them don't have my life conditions. They are not abused, they're not bad or neglected, they are not disregarded, they are not disenfranchised, they still have jobs and what have you, but we all are suffering. We're like clones from the exact same epidemic of wickedness that is living in our men, to a point where women can suffer some stuff like what it is that I'm going through and be disregarded altogether. So you don't get to act as if though you're better than me, women. I had actually a dream last night about one of these random former friends of mine, but there's a friend on Facebook trying to like be passing me shade, like, chick, you need me, I don't need you. Anyway, whatever, right? So that's the treatment of my person, the behavior, the response to my person by these females that like literally are in dire need of the same cure that I am trying to like manufacture, concoct in my little laboratory from the disease that is our men. Like, they need my help. Mara, they take for granted that no one's coming for me. No one cares. No one gives a rat's behind about what's going on with my life. And so, for those reasons, and they act as if though, without them, I'm bust. Except it's the other way around. Because I'm catered to by a higher being who even gave me understanding as to what's going on, enough for me to avoid the very men you keep on, those very monsters that are in your homes today are the disease. And you ended up living with one in a house. And God has protected me from that. And yet I'm apparently the one that's in trouble. Anyway, so, Helena, gets told this by her sister from a cell just on next door her, and Helena's response was epic. This is what she says. So Helena grew up in an orphanage, convent, and like a nun's convent, where it is that nuns were the ones that were taking care of her when she was growing up, but they were very abusive. They were not, happy-go-lucky good nuns that love Jesus or whatever. Helena, having grown up in that abusive environment, then said this to her sister. That was just to give you a little bit of context as to where she came from. Orphan Black. If you've seen it on Netflix, you probably know what in the world I'm talking about, right? Helena's response to her sister, who was like, I'm going to leave you here to rot. Helena was like, in convent, I live in broom closet for 3 months. I do not rot. And her sister was like, she's like, in convent, I live in broom closet for 3 months. I do not rot. So basically her response was, I might not have anybody. I might not have anything. People might not regard me. If all I go missing, no one might look for me. But understand, I know how to survive. Because I've been raised in so much abuse that nothing defies me. When I was living in the convent as a child, a nun locked me in there for 3 months. And I'm still here, and am I not? In convent, I was locked in broom closet for 3 months. I do not rot. I don't rot. That is Helena. A couple of days ago, I had a dream of me being a giant onion walking about. I told you guys, I gave you a little bit of an unraveling of the powers of onions. I use onions in order to deal with my skincare, yet more stuff that I had to find out in order to help myself in the season where I have nothing, I have no one, and no one cares about things that people should care about one another over. Like just severe neglect. And I told you that onion is just this self-preserving thing. It can chill in the pantry for like ever in a day and not go off. It just has these natural antiseptic, antibacterial, fermentation properties that make it a powerhouse when it comes to preservation. And I dreamt that I was like a big fat giant onion walking around. The Lord has put in me stuff that just keeps me in a bunch. In convent, I spent 3 months in broom closet. I do not rot well. This is Karabo. I have lived for 8 years with no medical intervention, no love, no mercy, nobody checking on me, nobody lifting a phone to find out what's going on with me. Nobody even so much as like trying to poke me on Facebook. No one hollering at me even in the slightest. Nobody trying to figure out okay waphela among people for 29 years yonke. And then one day we are disappear, poof. And all of her 30s are spent where it is that Lomuntu Akako in their lives. She has just disappeared and no one looked for me. I know negligence. So while Helena might have spent 3 months in a broom closet when she was being abused by nuns, on the come up growing up by sheep, by wolves in sheep's clothing, right? I have been living under severe abuse and neglect and tactlessness and carelessness and disregard by my own people that I was among that should have cared about me when I went missing. I've been living with their disregard for 8 years and I have not even fallen sick once. I do not rot. So, with me being this way, this woman has become even more neglectful because of my ability to just self-preserve or bounce back from things that just sweep me away. People are deliberately trying to make me do things that I don't want to do. It's a form of prostitution. It's like I'm living in a brothel and I'm the only prostitute there that's yet to sleep with a man. And so I'm very frustrating to all the other brothel sisters. I'm very frustrating to the madam brothel, the pimp that brought me there, the sex trafficker, and I'm also very frustrating to all the other women who are prostitutes in here. They look at me like I'm a goody two-shoes. They look at me like I'm somebody that needs to get off their high freaking horse and have sex already. People are literally expecting for me to put on a cute dress, get all clean, smell nice, and stand outside and hope some guy will stop there and share it. And refusing to do that has got me treated by women like, fine, you will rot. And my response is, I've been suffering neglect and abuse by people like you for 8 years. I have gone for 8 years without anybody so much as lifting a phone to find out what's going on. In that time, I've been moved from pillar to post, thrown from house to house. At some point, I was even bordering on being anorexic the way I barely ate anything. I was left to die alone in a house for 3 months. One time, just and there was no one else. My uncle's house because the people who lived in the main house had moved out, and before they got new tenants, I was alone. I was always scared. I was neglected like that for 3 months straight. Just like Helena, broom closet. I had the people in the house had DSTV and they helped me connect to it because they were kind to me. When they moved out, I had no television, I had no entertainment. I had to find a way to entertain myself. What did I do? I used videos on my phone and I watched them over and over and over and over again. I had gotten Narcos as well as Gotham season 1 on my laptop from some dude that I met that wreaked havoc in my life. He was a friend at one of the places where they threw me, and then he tried to rape me. As you guys, I've just been through a lot. It's like I'm explaining this because I'm putting this content on Facebook, so I'm trying to short much of what it is that I've been through, but I had been through that experience. I'd recorded it. It's all on file type thing. But now I'm just giving you a summary of more or less what happened. But before this guy hurt me, broke me, they made me live with some alcoholic like my dad. Like this man that had neglected me, they made me live with him, right? Because they were busy funding his ways, because I was the first person that started out funding him. I told you that my dad had been reduced to nothing but a hobo. I'm the one that took him off the streets. And then when I lost my job, my sister took on the bill to pay for his apartment, and then they threw me in the same space as that drunkard that will not even come around. And he brought people over that sexually harassed me. Men, 2 of them in particular. It is a miracle that I to this day have not been raped, but there was one of those guys that got too daggone close, and it almost happened if I did not quickly respond. I'm not going to get into that story. It's a trigger, so we'll maybe one day cover it again, but there probably won't even be a need. Before that guy wreaked that kind of havoc in my life, he had given me, he was somewhat of a friendly presence in the environment. Wangi Nigeza, a USB in season 1 and 2 of Narcos and season 1 of Gotham. So I repeated them on a loop over and over and over and over again when I didn't have entertainment. How I used to exercise, I had videos on my phone, on my cell phone device of choreographies, basically that I had downloaded one time when I was somewhere where there was internet, and I would watch them, and that's how I found music for my dance. As opposed to having Channel O playing or MTV, I did the same thing every single day. And on a loop, I watched Gotham and Narcos. This is how I survived a year of isolation, go Naturina. Literally that level of abandonment. And I got really skinny during the time. You've seen how my weight flag stayed, how emaciated I got during that time. I got super duper thin because I was barely given food. My life was just a royal mess, but I made it. I came up with a schedule. So I haven't even been in a broom closet for 3 months. I've been in this level of persecution for 8 years. I had to fight like a ninja, do you understand? For me to come back, where food is vicariously given me by mere virtue of the fact that it's always in the pantry because they have to eat. I fought to come back to this woman's house because I was being tossed to and from pillar to post, living in different environments for a season. That is what it is that I've been endured through. You don't mess now. You don't mess with a person that has gone through all that and then take for granted that take for granted that you don't treat a person like that, like you can defeat them when you're weak and fluffy and have not seen a single day of trauma in your life. You don't treat a person that has been through what I've been through like you got one up on them because people love you. It is precisely because they're neglected and abandoned that God will give them Herculean strength. Herculean strength, do you understand? The Lord will make them so strong that nobody can conquer. That's why basadi ba tlhokegang, ba le bantle hakana. That's why their skin is so clear. That's why they're so healthy. That's why they carry pregnancies to term without even seeing a dermatologist, a gynecologist once, and yet their babies are healthy. The poor of this world, the neglected, the ones who are left to strive and thrive and fend for themselves with no one caring. That's why when it comes to longevity, they look younger for longer, and on top of that, ba survive some of the worst conditions, and you would ask yourself, how do you conquer? How do you, well, I mean, God puts in an extra thick layer. He slaps it on thick of strength in people like those. He makes their immune systems buxom. He gives them longevity. He makes them young for longer. Their collagen production does not slow down at the rate of everybody else that's busy still out in these streets eating them trans fats at McDonald's because they can afford to. When you are suffering and you are going through it, you are going to have the benefit of longevity and of a strong immune system. People that are poor do not just drop dead from disease. From random societal shakings like COVID-19. It's you, the middle income. It's you, the ones that go to your 9 to 5s and come back. It's also another thing. Have you noticed the suicide committers of this world? Rarely ever will you find them chilling with slums that deep slit. Rarely ever will you find a suicide in an environment like that. In the Jewish Holocaust, the Jews that were suffocated under the tyranny of Hitler during that time, the ones who survived, you look at them, you look at the images that were taken of them and how emaciated they are, how skinny they became because they were just so abandoned. You could just literally see their skeletal structure just from seeing a guy walking around. Basically, bones, dead man walking, like a zombie. They were like zombies in those uniforms, like those prison uniforms that had the... No, it was more vertical. The vertical lines, they're red and it's like red and white or whatever, or red and khaki in color. Those prison uniforms that Hitler pretty much gave them to wear at the various concentration camps that they came from, Auschwitz, wherever. When they came out, the images of the day of their release, like when they were finally now freed, the United States had rocked up and found those bodies, and now the world was intervening. When finally they came out, the images of them smiling, laughing, walking freely now, probably the first time that they were actually smiling in life. They were now about to be fed. They were now about to be given asylum in other countries. They were now about to restart their lives again and build. So they were yet to get out of those uniforms, but that was the day they were released, and they're smiling. And you look at them and your heart bleeds and you wonder, why didn't you commit suicide the whole time? How did you just live through that? With no food in your body, where you've been treated like rubbish, where you've lost family members, where you know of brothers of yours on the left and on the right that were put in gas chambers. Like, how do you just survive that? Because literally the whole modus operandi or model of thinking with Hitler's concentration camps or death camps was that if they die, whatever, just put them in a mass grave. If they die, whatever, just put them in a mass grave. Did not have concern. They used them for labor, for the industrial complex. Mara, if one worker just dropped dead on the spot, just like drag them out and like throw them in a mass grave. So when literally nobody cares about the fact that you're hungry, they keep experimenting on you medically. And if you drop dead, they just take you and throw you somewhere. It means that if you're hungry and you're getting weak, you know that you're going to die very slowly. From being gnawed away at, from auto-cannibalism caused by the consumption of your own muscle mass, your own body's reserves of you. Your body will consume itself until you die. It's basically like dying from starvation. If you've got a disease, you're just going to have to watch it spread. And it's going to consume you whole. So when you know that's what's facing you and you still stay alive, you still don't take your life, what in the world goes on in there? All I could think about with those people at Auschwitz that was smiling with that still photo, showing all of them finally now that they're getting freed. I was like, how did you stay alive all these years without killing yourself before you would slowly die from things like starvation? How did you do that? You know how? God. The Lord does that in severely abused people. They somehow don't kill themselves, even though they would die a very slow and painful death. And it's what they can fathom. It's what they can anticipate is likely going to happen because of the level of apathy around them. So when you are languishing in a prison camp, like even the prisoners in North Korea, languishing there with barely any food, where your sentence is not even given you, you just told you're in prison. As to when you're getting out, you don't get told. Like the women in Iran that were in prison for preaching the gospel, not told when you're going to get out, just you're here. And you're not getting fed any food. You're in a dirty environment that smells of sewage. You don't know when this is going to end. And with you not being able to anticipate, at least counting down, like putting lines on the wall and then just kind of canceling them off as the days progress, with you not able to count down how long you're going to be in this environment and so therefore look forward to your release, how do you stay alive through that when you don't know when this is going to end? You literally anticipate or fathom nothing, but you're just getting old and dying, forlorn and alone. That's what I have had to deal with the past 8 years. My biological clock dying off, just dying, neglected, in an environment where no one even cares to so much as check if I have been missing for 2 days. That is my life. How did I survive? The same way that prisoners in North Korea in those prison camps survive, even though they don't know when they're going to get out. The same way that all of the Jews in the Holocaust that survived stayed alive all the way up until the end, even though there was no end in sight. It appeared to them, to this horror, this nightmare. They didn't kill themselves. I am basically living proof of the fact that God takes care of the widow and of the orphan and the oppressed of this world. He's the one that has their back. He gives some supernatural strength to the struggling, to people that society completely disregards. He makes them resilient. He makes them dimbogoto. Do you understand? Whereas look at the number of suicide committers in corporate South Africa. Look at Ricky Rick. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insensitive. The dude had everything going for himself and he still killed himself. There are men and women who have got children to raise. They have got jobs that pay them salaries every month, that enter into some kind of a depression. If anything, this woman has a colleague that recently committed suicide. Thriving. B&B and like was coward type thing. People that have every reason to live. People that don't have at least too many reasons to want to die. Somehow are not strong enough to stay alive through morbid depression, through mental health illness. Through mental illness, they somehow cannot conquer depression. They capitulate to demons that tell them, die, 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 jump, jump, jump. Like they capitulate. And if Karabo can live Kapsunganjena and stay alive for 8 years, how in the world do you go and put a noose around your neck when not only you've got a career that's thriving and it's alive and it's well, but you've also got children you have to be there for as a husband, a dad, and a wife that you have to be there for as a husband. How in the world, when you've got so many joys in this world to look forward to, could you not realize that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem? How are you not able to counsel yourself out of that depression, even if people appear to not care that you were going through the moans? That is just the irony. The Christ, when he was being tempted in the wilderness, was told also to commit suicide. The devil said, jump off this cliff and trust the angels of God to catch you. And Jesus responded by saying, thou shalt not test the Lord your God. Thou shalt not test the Lord your God. So basically, Satan was telling him, commit suicide because you're going through it. I mean, life sucks. And Christ was like, no, I'm not going to go test God. Hope I'm going to enter into heaven after killing myself, after committing murder, after sinning, even though I'm supposed to be the he who knows no sin, and I'm going to become sin for the human race that they might become the righteousness of God in me. Like, no. So that is the response then that God gives to his Christians when they are being like severely abused and pushed to a point where they are told, go kill yourself, Karabo, and then trust God to take you to heaven because there's a relief in heaven. How many times have I asked the Lord to end my life, but never in my life have I actually taken my own life? I'm like Elijah, who goes and asks God to take his life because that woman Jezebel has said, may the gods deal with me ever so severely if by this time tomorrow Elijah's not dead. After the guy went and performed the miracle on Mount Carmel. Do you understand? So he had done an excellent thing, and Jezebel was trying to get him killed. And Elijah said, God, kill me. I can't live like this anymore. They keep killing your prophets. And God told him, get up and eat, for your journey is still too great. So basically he was strengthened. And then he was told, there are 7,000 others that have not knelt to bail. He was strengthened. He was told, Kulega, you still got 70 to do. Don't be looking at this woman and thinking, she's the be-all and end-all of your existence. No. I have kept you alive and I've hidden you in this wilderness. And he fed them. And he fed him twice a day by the ravens, and he was by a brook where he could get water. That was Elijah. Do you understand? His situation was such that he wanted to die, but he never killed himself. Jonah as well. He wanted to die. End my life. Kill me. I'm angry enough to die, but never did he actually die. Job regretted the day he was ever born, but did he ever grab a noose and hang himself? No. If anything, his wife was like, may the Lord deal with you. No, so his wife was like, will you still maintain your integrity? Why don't you just curse God and die? In other words, commit suicide. And Job was like, are you foolish woman? Must we praise God only in good times and not in bad? That was the response of Job. Right, so disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ throughout the scriptures that have been endured through very painful experiences have never died. At most, they've only ever desired that they should die, asked God to take their lives because they know there is relief in going to heaven. To die is Christ, to live is Christ, but to die is gain. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. They know that there is relief to be enjoyed in death. But you don't get to bring it about yourself. You don't get to take yourself to heaven. You don't get to skip the queue. You don't get to jump the line. You don't get to literally take yourself home. God must be the one to take you. He's the one that calls your number and then says, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have fought the good fight, you have run the race, you have kept the faith, okay? It is also written in God's word that he who endures to the end is the one that will be saved. So suicide is not a form of endurance. But the Lord knows the difficulty to stay alive of people that are really going through it. So what does he do? He gives them, he lays it on thick, an extra wad of strength above the spoiled of society that are able to get everything that they need on the daily. So you who undermine the power of God to preserve the struggling and suffering, and in your mind walk in a very elitist capacity where it is that you will, in your classism, anticipate yourself better off than a person that's going through it, understand that they have got a strength that is supernatural that you can't touch. They do not rot. Poor people don't rot. They literally don't, and yet you do. So much so that every so often you commit suicide when you've got everything to live for. So when I look at cases like Ricky Rick, I'm like, Ricky Rick, how in the world did you go and end your life when the Jews in the Holocaust didn't? How do you expect to be received by God in heaven as well done, my good and faithful servant? How do you expect him to say, when his Jews, when those Jews in the Holocaust didn't kill themselves? To this day, some of them are still giving their testimony because they're still alive. And so therefore, it is displayed that God finally did set them free. That's the thing about ending your life. You are disregarding the fact that God has a plan to get you out of a mess. Those Jews got out. Today, they're great-grandparents. They have got legacies. They've got stories to tell. They've got grandchildren to show photos to of wars that they endured, type establishment thing. So I've got a story to tell. I've got great grandchildren to let know that grandmama was put at the precipice for death. I've got 20% battery power left here, so I need to seal this particular discussion. So you don't get to end your life. Mara, the suicide rate is highest among people that have every reason under heaven to stay alive at least one more day. Those that have much, and those that don't have anything are staying alive through domestic worker yethu lana etating magendlini kunetha ngiyamzwela yezwa. Last week it was raining cats and dogs, and she comes all the way from Val. She had to walk getting all drenched to come here in Jafela. It's a very long walk from where the taxis drop off a person to who fika more complexing. Fika more type thing. I could make it feel like an umbrella. That life nje ukuvuka just to rock up ukuthi ayokubhadala maximum 200 rand for ilanga lonke. Yo, what a waste, ne? What a waste. Ukusokolisa umuntu kangaka. Why angazibulali? She lives in a neighborhood where I'm a podcast sometimes happen for 3 weeks on end, non-stop. Last time I checked, the power was off for 3 weeks, and I haven't even asked, is the power back on? She didn't say, so I was like, how do you charge your phones? We're a guy in the community that has a car. We use these vehicles in order to charge our thingies, our phones. Like, how do you live in such an environment? I would be so depressed. I'd be so forlorn if I can't get on the internet, if I cannot use my Wi-Fi, if I cannot, I would be so depressed if there's no electricity, if I can't watch something on TV, I would be so miserable. How do you get through it? There's just a strength, a valor that is given to people who are going through it in life, or lowlier people, because the world I've been under and my conditions were, and so God gives them an extra layer of strength. So I don't rot, only because you've made sure that I'm the kind of person that God puts a nice little strong preservative in. I do not rot. I'm like Helena in Orphan Black, and all of these women that think they can underestimate the living daylights out of me because I don't have anyone. And it's precisely because I have no one that I am stronger than them in ways that they cannot calculate or fathom. So it is in their best interest to rather respect me instead they disregard me. So since I don't rot, I am here, I'm surviving, I'm thriving, my skin is even clearing, I'm looking better and better as the days progress. I've conquered feats, but what about my animal? I need to seal this conversation because my battery power is very low. What about my animal? What about my cat? My cat belongs to an owner that is poverty-stricken that nobody cares about. And my cat does not know the level of negligence and abuse that I know. Because my cat has been catered to by me. I have not abandoned her, even though my mother has. So she doesn't know lack and want. My cat does not know ugekwa anjalo. And now it looks as if the uyagula and she's going to die a slow death like a concentration camp dweller and at Auschwitz, a Jew. My cat is going to die like a Jew. And right now, I'm not going to let her in. She'll have to just walk up and down and meow and go back and whatever. I can't open because I'm planning on doing something to eradicate the situation at present. That is the situation that I'm facing. So last night, but the night before last, I woke up from a dream where God showed me what I need to do to heal my animal. That she has got this scab on her body. No, Crank Cat, I'm not opening for you. You can meow there as much as you want. I don't want you hopping around on my thing. In fact, you know what? Let her come in. Give the bones for the sickness. Come in. Let me remove my phone. Can you see? I'll take you there myself. Just stay there, Crank Cat. I'm not after you. Do you see what I'm looking at, what I'm talking about? That legion on her back, that scab, it started out the size of a 1 rand coin and got bigger. And it keeps getting bigger. And knowing how shallow my mother is, she probably finds it disgusting. And like could not care less. For her, it's like, if it dies, it dies. There was a time, when I was worried about my cat's health for something, I don't know. And she literally responded to me by saying, I guess if she needs to be put down, she will then be put down. We'll take her to a vet and the vet will then do what they need to do to kill your cat. I was like, really? So, like, it's something you can just accept and I was disgusted by her response, but that's when I knew that I have to pray for my cat's health. At this point, she has gone like somewhat of a sick situation. When I look at her eye now, it's the inflammation that was on her eye has gone down. But the reason why that inflammation even was on her eye yesterday is because that wound that you just saw now, I scratch her. She scratches it, and then excessive grooming type thing, and then next thing her paw is on her eye, and that transferred. But her immune system is so self-regulating. She's so strong. She doesn't rot. She's like Helena as well. Then self-recover. She bounces back. But from that, she's not bouncing back. And I went and I asked on the internet machine again, YouTube. I went and I asked what to do when you've got a situation like this with an animal. And the night before last, God showed me a dream where I was like spreading aloe vera gel on the back of the cat where it is that that wound is at. And I was like, oh, okay, so there's something in the garden that I can do. Aloe vera is antibacterial, it's also antiseptic. So I was like, okay. And it's something that if the cat licks it, it's not going to go sick. It's a garden plant that is not poisonous to the animal, and also it's bitter in its taste. So I was like, after waking up from that dream, I was like, okay, let me try it. God has told me to use aloe vera on my cat. I was so freaking out. I was concerned. I was worried. And I was like, God, you're going to abandon me to just like live with a dying animal? Is that what you're going to do, really? Is that what you're going to do? Is that what you're going to do? Are you just going to leave me with a dying animal? Like, like my cat, and not be able to go in the house is likely because my mother has closed all the windows in the house so the cat cannot come in because she's grossed out probably by that scab on the back of the cat. So the only access of food by the animal is in here. There is a plate of food in the house for the cat, but if it's closed, it's closed. And so usually the cat does not bother me during the day this side. Also, it's like we have a rapport type thing. She probably finds the situation disgusting. And she is walking in neglect. Like I told you, Guinness World Record of neglect, that woman holds the title. The Lord told me how to deal with the wound. Put aloe vera. I did that. And when yesterday I put the aloe vera, she appeared to be very welcoming of it. She considered it soothing. I frankly was a little bit, guys, I don't have a child, and I've never had to deal with situations like hard knock. There's a reason why I did not study medicine. I find blood, gore, scabs, everything gross. So for me to go and put ointment on a wound of anyone, let alone an animal, it's just very taxing. But I did it anyway, and I spread it there, and the cat appeared to be content with it, right? She usually is very iffy and touchy about things that I do on her. But this time around, she was very welcoming. And then when she tried to go and overgroom again, lick that wound, she like turned back because it tasted badly. But she nonetheless, irrespective, could not care less, licked it off. She licked it off anyway. Like, she took the aloe vera taste in her stride and was like, I'm gonna go at it again. So my feats with the aloe vera are not going to work unless I find a way to prevent the cat from going in again there. I have to prevent her from grooming in that area. I have to prevent her from scratching that area. I am not going to prosper to do that if I do not, like, the thing that's spreading that wound of hers is, according to YouTube, because I went and found out last night how to get what's going on. That's how I know that it's likely contact dermatitis. There's a woman on YouTube that healed her animal from somebody, and her animal's scabs were all the way down the back, like down the spine. Whereas with my cat, it's just one patch, and it keeps on growing, and you can see that it's getting increasingly inflamed. It's getting more and more inflamed because of the fact that, like, even the situation with the eye is not entirely gone. Hey, now that I'm looking at the cat, like, literally my cat is looking very unhealthy. It's like she looks like she could die. She looks like she could die, and Barbara does not care. Queen cat, come on, like, no, go. She looks like she could die. And this woman again, busy on a mission, trying to prostitute her own child to a point where we just frustration here, let that lead you to what it is that I want to force you to do. So God gives me a dream and shows me that, what do you call this? Aloe vera is going to help heal the cat. Just to spread the ointment where it is that the cat is irritated is going to work. There's plenty of it in the garden, but I have to find a way to prevent the cat from licking that wound, and I also have to find a way to prevent the cat from bringing her paw onto her face, transferring stuff over. I probably am not going to do very well in getting my cat to not, like, take her paw type thing and scratch there. Mara, I can prevent the licking of the wound, which is also spreading the infection down the shaft of her back, down the spine. Yeah, the animal. The woman used witch hazel, the one that I checked out on the internet, and she had taken the cat to the vet, and she basically said that the way that she dealt with the illness based on vet advice was to wash her cat 3 times with baby shampoo in that month, 3 times. So a neutral shampoo, which I don't have. But I have washed my cat before with regular shampoo, and she hasn't reacted negatively. However, with this wound, I don't know what that's going to mean. And then she dabbed witch hazel on the cat's wound, and also put a collar around the cat so that it does not go back and groom and scratch and do whatever on all over the shaft of the back of the cat, or all over the vertebra, of the back of the cat. So that the only thing I don't have at present out of those 3 things, I don't have witch hazel, but I've got aloe vera, and I do not have baby shampoo, but regular shampoo has worked before. With me, I'll just try to, I don't know what to do to make it less poignant or whatever, but I can wash the cat one more time, once again, and last time I washed it was about 2 months ago. Wash it now, and then monitor the situation. I don't think I'll do it another 2 times in the month, because cats really hate water type thing. And then every day apply the aloe vera, and it'll dry up, it'll scab, and the cat will not be able to scratch it. But I don't have the collar. How then to get the collar? It's what I've been doing, Lana, with learning how to crochet, how to plait, do braids and whatnot when I was first growing my hair, because I had to do everything by myself because nobody was about to take care of me or even care that I want my afro to grow. I used this one, like, I don't know if it's still here. I didn't at that time have a crochet hook, but I found something that helped me crochet anyway. Is it here? First of all, I tried with this needle, but the thing that really worked for me, okay, Mona, but it's something that has, I don't know what it is even. No, actually, I do know what it is. You know how when you sew, in sewing, there is this needle pusher thing that you used to push thread through a needle. That thing was a needle pusher, but for a giant needle, and it had a little hole in it where I could put hair in and just like drive it in and put it out on the other side, and that's how I would prosper to like stuff my hair in, take it on the other side, and then crochet and then braid down. I have been coming up with such DIY methods to do everything before I could officially purchase an actual crochet hook for only 15 rands. It doesn't even cost that much, right? Before I could officially purchase a crochet hook, I did things DIY with something like Tolile in the house, somewhere scratching around, and it did the job. I've been DIYing like that for a minute. I've been taking care of myself like that for a minute. This tiny little space where I exercise took me a minute for me to finally get my proper workout in it, but I prospered finally to know how to move in this tiny little space and still target most of my muscle groups. I have done everything by myself, despite disregard, negligence, and lack of care, apathy for my life. By literally all of my family members. Right now as I speak, my older sister is here. They all don't care. And they look at me like somebody that's going to rot. And I'm like, I've been suffering for 8 years. I look more glorious than all of you combined. I do miraculous things just walking about. I do not rot. But hey, guess what? You can crush me using my cat, right? let it die right there in front of me. Well, guess what? My cat will be like those Jews at Auschwitz. One day they will smile, because now finally they're free. God showed me to put aloe vera on my cat's body, and a cat collar, I don't own one, but I'm about to make one. I went in the house looking for anything at Oya Plastiki that's big enough, and I was like, I don't know what to do. There was only a small amount of foam bath foam, whatever, foam bath in there. In here, Yamuson. So I poured it into like a skotolongan or whatever, a tiny little bowl, and I put it where it is that it was in the bathroom, and I took this, and I am going to try and experiment with making a cat collar using this. I've also got string here, either this string or igusha. The intention basically is there's a lighter in the house, right? Because we have a gas stove and we use that during times like now when it is that there is no power and hasn't been and likely will not be any power for 24 hours because it's just what South Africa is deciding to do these days. So I will use that matches or that lighter in order to burn holes into the plastic, and then I will slip in like igusha or this in order to be the thing that I'm going to use to tie it around my cat's neck, so that my cat has got something around her neck that is going to prevent her from being able to groom herself for the next couple of days. Will probably be uncomfortable, but she's just going to have to deal. She's just going to have to deal because there's no way that wound is going to stop growing in size if she keeps on scratching it and she keeps on licking it and whatnot. It's just going to continue to spread and spread and spread and spread. So I have grabbed a knife in the kitchen. I've got these scissors over here, and I am going to cut this up and try and make a cat collar. I'm going to try and make a cat collar, and I'm going to hope it works. It probably will. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? Basically, like, I've got 10 minutes left here. Intention is to, at what point, like, my cat's neck is about, intention is to cut it from like here to here, and then down that way, and then put a hole on each side, and like, yeah, okay, let's just try it. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't even know if I should do this off camera or what, or outside. Okay, these are the kinds of things that I have been doing for the past few months just to get stuff done for myself, because nobody is going to take my cat to the vet, me to a doctor, and nobody is going to help me clear my skin. Literally, they just watch me. They've won a competition for negligence. And this cat collar will embarrass Barbara, the guy that helped me. The dude that helped me with the cat initially is this one white okie that stays somewhere down in this complex, one of the members of the body corporate, and he was happy that I was happy to take the cat in. Every so often he plays with my cat. He's gonna wonder, oh my goodness, she even had to make a makeshift cat collar. Everybody knows that I'm being abused, but nobody's doing anything about it. You know when you've got that mindset, you could about by trying again. Yeah, anyway, whatever. So you put a cat in a household that is abusive, and you're grateful that there's a freaking Cinderella there that is into animal rescue. And so when there's like a stray animal in the environment, or a cat that like is in dire need of somebody paying attention to it, and this person takes it on, you're happy, but then due to the fact that this person is so abused, this animal is also going to struggle with any kind of care at all. You should have thought about that, but no. I'm going to also cut it down here below. I'm not going to do this on camera because I'm uploading these things on social media, so therefore I need to be very careful for how long I've been at this. So let me just do this off camera. Plus I don't have much battery power right now. Let me do this off camera, and I'll come back and show you the final product. I might even only show you the final product when the power comes back on, like 10 days from today, because, you know, I don't have any way to charge my phone. Even though people have cars, I don't have access to them. Whatever. Okay, bye-bye, guys. I'll see you later. This here is how it is that God has been surviving me, and how it is that God sees my issues, what I'm suffering from, what I'm hurting from. He doesn't just neglect me. He gave me a dream about aloe vera, and then gave me the internet to be able to figure out what to do to prevent my cat from continuing to lick and scratch. And now I'm making a cat collar for myself, and I'm going to put it on around my cat, and when that happens, my cat will finally start to heal, and this woman will yet again be defeated. Yet again. I do not rot. Signing out on Christ's name. This is what I have so far. What I want to do now is cut down this way. Yeah. Ne? Do I need to continue to use scissors on later? So there it is, like that. So which side am I going to put around the cat's neck? Probably this side. I just want to see if I can't smooth it out. I mean, it's not exactly round, but it's mendy and bendy. It's malleable. Okay, the thing that I wanted to do, it looks like it's not going to work. So what I was talking about earlier was burning a hole through the plastic here, using a lighter and a hole there, and then putting the stuff together. So let me just go get the lighter from the house. I could use matches, but matches burns out. And this is, after all, a shack. And I don't want a shack fire, so I'll be back now.
Overrated, you should know. Suffocated in my arms. My eyes are taken, you should know.
Hey, I stopped using the lighter because it just messed up and I cut this thing further. It actually hardened the plastic even more. This is what I finally came up with, guys. I use scissors. I bend the plastic and I cut diamond shapes into it. Like that. Yo, this PowerCut situation, like, it's gonna depress me so badly. Like, I need the power to come back. It cannot be a 24-hour situation because I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. Anyway, whatever. I would remove this if it was not so sticky. It's like not an essential, frankly. So yeah, this is what I eventually came up with. This is the side that my cat's neck is going to be at, and this string will help me figure out how tight it needs to get, but it can't get too tight. I figured my cat's neck is about that size. It'll all just sit. This feels a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't want anything that's going to be sharp edges or whatever. What's happening with my life are experiments, like proper social experiments, to see if I'm filing down the sharp edges to make them rounder and smooth, to see if I will do what they want me to do. So they experiment with my life. Literally putting a person on the precipice of death to see if they won't do anything to stay alive. This is what's being done to me. They are experimenting on me with deadliness so they can see what I will do just to stay alive. They want me a prostitute. Is that basic? This is what witchcraft will win you, and fornication. And win. This hyper sex crazed culture that everybody's living in has force-fed prostitution to women by functioning as barriers to entry to them unless they have sex. This is literally what's going on with my life right now. 8 years. People have been trying to make me ikhosha for 8 years. And they ain't stopping anytime soon. That's why I have to get out of this by myself. So I'm going to experiment with this on the cat. I've rounded the edges. This is going to be her neck. I'm tempted to cut it down here because I feel like it's just going to cover her whole head and she's going to feel overwhelmed and have to look through it. So let's do that and then come back. I think this is my final product, you guys. This is the final product. Let me take this lighter back in the house, lest they should need it. But this is my final product. I'm going to try and find my cat to see if I can put this on her right now. Later. You're just going to have to deal, crank cat. You're gonna have to deal. You want to remove it? Okay, I have an idea. Now that you're going to the vet, please bend over so we can show what your situation looks like. It's so bad. And your eye as well. Whatever under heaven that is, Green Cat. Hey, move a little. Move. Move, Kenny. Move. Look at your eye. Eye. Show me the eye. Show me the eye. Show me more eye. Stop doing that. It's just gonna worsen the situation. Oh my goodness.